Listen, I'm about to tell you something that might save your entire future, but it's going to make a lot of people angry. You know what I see when I look around at married men today? Walking zombies. Men who had dreams, ambitions, financial freedom, and genuine happiness before they signed that piece of paper. Now they're shells of their former selves, wondering where the hell their lives went. Before you start typing your angry comments, let me ask you something. When was the last time you saw a married man under 40 who looked genuinely content? Not putting on a show for social media, not pretending everything's perfect at family gatherings, but actually happy. Take your time. I'll wait. You can't remember, can you? And there's a reason for that. Marriage today isn't what our grandfathers experienced. It's become a sophisticated trap designed to extract maximum resources while providing minimum value in return. It's like signing up for a gym membership where they promise you'll get fit, but instead they lock you in a contract, take your money every month, and the equipment doesn't work. Except with marriage, when you try to cancel, they take half of everything you own. I had this conversation with a friend last month. He's 29, successful software engineer, owns his own place, drives a nice car. He tells me his girlfriend's been dropping hints about marriage for 6 months. Every conversation somehow leads back to weddings, rings, or their future together. He says to me, I love her, but something feels wrong about the whole thing. Like I'm being pressured into a decision that's going to change everything. You know what I told him? Trust that feeling. Because that instinct telling you something's off isn't paranoia, it's pattern recognition. Your brain is picking up on signals that this isn't about love or partnership. It's about securing resources and locking down commitment before the other person figures out what they're actually signing up for. Here's what nobody wants to admit. Modern marriage has become a business transaction disguised as a romantic gesture. She gets financial security, social status, a wedding to post on Instagram, and legal claim to half your assets. What do you get? The privilege of paying for all of it while being told you're lucky to have someone who tolerates you. The wedding industry alone is a massive red flag that should tell you everything you need to know. We're talking about an average of $30,000 for one day. $30,000 that could be a down payment on investment property, could be startup capital for a business, could be the foundation of actual wealth building. Instead, it goes toward flowers that die in a week, and a party where half the guests you'll never see again. But that's just the beginning. The real financial destruction starts after the honeymoon photos are posted. Suddenly your single guy apartment isn't good enough anymore. You need a bigger place, in a better neighborhood, with room for guests who never come. Your reliable car becomes embarrassing. She needs something newer, safer, more appropriate for a married woman. Your hobbies become selfish. Your friends become toxic influences. Your money becomes our money, but somehow her money stays her money. I watched this happen to my cousin. Before marriage, he was saving $1,500 a month, had a solid investment portfolio, was planning to buy rental property. Within 2 years of getting married, he's living paycheck to paycheck, working overtime just to cover the mortgage on a house he didn't want, in a neighborhood he couldn't afford, for a lifestyle that makes him miserable. When I asked him what happened, he said, I don't know. Somehow everything became more expensive, but I'm not living any better. The psychological manipulation starts long before the wedding day. It begins with the idea that marriage is the natural progression of love, that if you really care about someone, you'll want to make it official. That commitment can only be proven through legal documents and public ceremonies. This is complete nonsense. Love doesn't require government paperwork. Commitment doesn't need a judge's signature. Partnership doesn't demand a party that costs more than most people's annual salary. But society has programmed us to believe that refusing marriage means you're commitment-phobic, immature, or not serious about the relationship. Women have been taught that marriage is the ultimate validation of their worth, that without that ring, that title, that legal status, they're somehow less valuable. This creates enormous pressure on men to propose, not because it's what they want, but because refusing makes them the villain in a story where they never agreed to be the hero. The engagement ring industry is perhaps the most brilliant scam ever created. Convince men they need to spend 2 to 3 months' salary on a rock that has no practical value, serves no functional purpose, and depreciates the moment you buy it. The entire tradition was invented by diamond companies in the 1930s. Before that, engagement rings weren't even a thing. But now, if you don't bankrupt yourself buying the right rock, you don't really love her. Think about what that ring represents. It's not a symbol of love. It's a down payment on ownership. It's her way of marking territory, showing other women that this man's resources are spoken for. It's a public declaration that he's willing to make financially irrational decisions to keep her happy, and if he ever tries to leave, that ring becomes evidence in court of his commitment to the relationship. The legal implications of marriage are catastrophic for men, and most guys have no idea what they're agreeing to when they say those vows. You're not just promising to love and honor someone, you're signing a contract that gives another person legal claim to half of everything you earn, everything you build, everything you create for the rest of your life. Even money you earned before you met her becomes community property in many states. Divorce courts are designed to redistribute wealth from men to women, regardless of who caused the marriage to fail. She can cheat, lie, steal, abuse, manipulate, or simply decide she's not happy anymore, and she still gets half. The system assumes that women are victims who need protection, and men are walking ATMs who exist to provide financial support. The statistics are terrifying. 70% of divorces are initiated by women. The average man loses 40% of his net worth in a divorce. Child support and alimony payments can continue for decades. But even if you never get divorced, the mere threat of divorce becomes a weapon used against you throughout the marriage. Every disagreement becomes an opportunity for her to remind you what you have to lose. Every time you assert yourself, make a decision she doesn't like, or fail to meet her expectations, the nuclear option is always on the table. You become a prisoner in your own life, constantly walking on eggshells to avoid triggering the legal destruction that marriage makes possible. The social pressure to get married comes from everywhere. Family members who want grandchildren or the appearance of family stability. Friends who are miserable in their own marriages but can't admit it, so they need you to join them in their misery. Society that treats single men as suspicious, incomplete, or somehow defective. Women who see unmarried men as projects to be completed rather than people to be appreciated. Your mother will guilt-trip you about giving her grandchildren and carrying on the family name. Your father, if he's been through divorce himself, might warn you privately but publicly support whatever decision you make. Your married friends will tell you how great marriage is while secretly texting you about their latest fights and financial struggles. The pressure becomes overwhelming, and many men cave just to make it stop. The bait and switch that happens after marriage is legendary. The woman you dated, who was fun, spontaneous, sexually available, and supportive of your goals, mysteriously disappears after the wedding. In her place appears someone who's constantly tired, always stressed, perpetually unsatisfied, and somehow entitled to your complete devotion, despite providing nothing in return. The intimacy that was once frequent and enthusiastic becomes a negotiation tool. Something she controls and rations based on your behavior, your compliance, your willingness to meet her ever-expanding list of demands. Sex becomes a reward for good behavior rather than an expression of mutual desire. And if you complain about this, you're labeled as shallow, sex-obsessed, or someone who doesn't understand that marriage is about more than physical connection. The goalposts keep moving throughout the marriage. Before you got married, she just wanted commitment. After the wedding, she wants a bigger house. After the house, she wants children. After the children, she wants you to make more money to support the lifestyle she's decided you need. After you increase your income, she wants you to spend more time at home. When you adjust your schedule, she complains you're not ambitious enough. There's no winning because the game is rigged. Children become the ultimate trap within the marriage trap. Once kids arrive, leaving becomes exponentially more difficult and expensive. You're not just risking half your assets anymore. You're risking seeing your own children become weapons used against you. Family court heavily favours mothers in custody disputes, regardless of who's the better parent or who actually raised the children. You could be the most involved father in the world, and you'll still likely end up with every other weekend and a massive child support bill. The emotional manipulation that comes with children is devastating. She knows you love your kids more than anything, so threatening to take them away becomes her nuclear option in any conflict. Maybe you should find somewhere else to stay tonight becomes, maybe you should find somewhere else to live permanently, and good luck seeing the kids more than twice a month. Your children become hostages in a war you never wanted to fight. Financial decisions become completely one-sided once marriage and children are involved. Your wife controls the household budget, decides what's necessary spending, and treats your income as automatic deposits into her lifestyle fund. Meanwhile, Every dollar you want to spend on yourself requires justification, negotiation, and often approval. Want to buy something for your hobby? That's selfish when the house needs new curtains. Want to invest in your future? That's risky when she wants a vacation. Want to start a business? That's too uncertain when she needs security. The retirement planning conversation is particularly revealing. She'll insist on contributing to retirement accounts in both your names, which sounds reasonable until you realise that divorce laws treat retirement funds as marital assets subject to division. You could work for 40 years building your retirement security, and she could walk away with half of it after 10 years of marriage. Meanwhile, her lower earnings mean she contributed almost nothing to those same accounts she's now entitled to split. Home ownership becomes another sophisticated trap disguised as building equity together. She'll push for buying the most expensive house you can barely afford in the neighbourhood she wants, with features that matter to her. When the relationship inevitably sours, guess who gets to keep the house while you move into a studio apartment and continue paying the mortgage through alimony? The house you couldn't afford becomes the house you can't afford to lose in the divorce settlement. The social isolation that happens gradually throughout marriage is designed to make leaving impossible. Your single friends become bad influences who remind her of your life before she controlled it. Your family becomes intrusive people who don't understand your marriage. Your hobbies become wastes of time that take attention away from her needs. Your career networking becomes suspicious activity that threatens her security. Slowly but systematically, she removes every support system you have until she's your only source of social connection. Male friendships suffer tremendously under the pressure of marriage. Your buddies understand what's happening, but they can't say anything without being labelled as troublemakers trying to break up your marriage. They watch you disappear into a relationship that's clearly making you miserable, but any attempt to point this out is met with accusations of jealousy or interference. Eventually, they stop trying to maintain the friendship because every interaction has to be approved by your wife and filtered through her comfort level. The health impacts of unhappy marriages are severe and well documented. Married men have higher rates of depression, anxiety, heart disease, and substance abuse than their single counterparts. The constant stress of walking on eggshells, managing someone else's emotions, and living in fear of financial destruction takes a devastating toll on your physical and mental well-being. Yet society continues to promote marriage as beneficial for men's health, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Sleep becomes a battleground in marriage. She controls the bedroom temperature, the mattress choice, the pillow arrangement, when the lights go out, when the alarm goes off, and whether you're allowed to sleep peacefully or must endure her complaints about her day, her dreams, her fears, or her plans. Your rest, which is crucial for your health and productivity, becomes subject to her approval and comfort level. The career sabotage that happens in marriage is subtle but effective. She'll support your career ambitions right up until they require sacrifice, risk, or time away from her. Want to work late to finish an important project? You're neglecting the family. Want to travel for business opportunities? You're abandoning your responsibilities. Want to start your own company? You're being irresponsible with the family's security. Your professional growth becomes limited by her comfort zone and her need for attention. Technology becomes another control mechanism in modern marriage. She needs access to your phone, your email, your social media accounts, your location at all times. This isn't presented as controlling behavior, but as normal transparency between married couples. Meanwhile, her privacy remains intact because questioning her activities makes you insecure and controlling. The double standard is breathtaking, but pointing it out makes you the problem. The extended family obligations that come with marriage are endless and expensive. Her parents, siblings, cousins, and friends all become your financial responsibility during holidays, birthdays, emergencies, and life events. Your family obligations, however, are inconvenient burdens that take resources away from her family priorities. You're expected to remember every anniversary, birthday, and special occasion for people you barely know, while your own family relationships take a backseat to her social calendar. The legal system is specifically designed to make marriage dissolution as painful as possible for men. Divorce lawyers understand that men typically want to resolve things quickly and move on with their lives, so they drag out proceedings to maximize billable hours and emotional damage. The longer the process takes, the more desperate you become to end it, which means accepting worse terms just to escape the nightmare of ongoing litigation. Prenuptial agreements are marketed as protection, but they're largely worthless in practice. Family court judges can throw out prenups for dozens of reasons. Too one-sided, signed under duress, didn't have independent counsel, circumstances changed, unconscionable terms. The list goes on forever. I've seen ironclad prenups get tossed because she cried convincingly about not understanding what she was signing. Even if the prenup holds up, it only protects assets you had before marriage. Everything you earn afterward is still fair game. The wedding planning process itself is a preview of your entire marriage. She makes every decision while you pay for everything. The venue, the flowers, the music, the guest list, the menu. Your job is to nod approvingly and write checks. If you express any preference that conflicts with her vision, you don't understand how important this day is to her. If you suggest a smaller, less expensive celebration, you don't love her enough to give her the wedding she deserves. The wedding becomes her day while you're just a prop in her fantasy. Religious pressure adds another layer of manipulation to the marriage trap. Churches, families, and communities push marriage as a moral imperative. Living together without marriage is sinful. Having children outside marriage is shameful. Being single past 30 means something's wrong with you spiritually. Religious institutions benefit from stable marriages that produce tithing families and future congregation members. Your spiritual leaders have financial incentives to encourage marriages, regardless of whether they're beneficial for the individuals involved. The insurance and benefits trap is particularly insidious. She quits her job shortly after marriage because your health insurance is better, your retirement benefits are superior, or childcare costs make working unprofitable for her. Suddenly, she's completely financially dependent on you, which means leaving becomes impossible without destroying your own financial security. She can't afford to live independently, but supporting two households through divorce will bankrupt you. The dependency that's presented as natural partnership becomes economic imprisonment. Social media has made marriage performance absolutely exhausting. Every anniversary requires public declarations of love. Every vacation needs couple photos proving how happy you are. Every milestone demands celebration posts showing the world how perfect your relationship is. The pressure to maintain this facade becomes overwhelming, especially when your private reality looks nothing like your public image. The performance becomes more important than the actual relationship. The comparison game never ends once you're married. Her friends are buying bigger houses, taking better vacations, getting more expensive jewelry, receiving more romantic gestures. Your income becomes the measuring stick for her social status, and you're constantly failing to measure up to someone else's husband who makes more money, spends more freely, or performs romance more convincingly. Nothing you do is ever enough because there's always someone doing more. Look, I've laid out the reality of modern marriage for men, and I know some of you are thinking I'm being too harsh, but everything I've told you can be verified with statistics, court records, and the testimonies of millions of men who learn these lessons the hard way. The choice is yours. You can ignore the warning signs, hope you'll be different, and roll the dice with your entire future. Or you can protect yourself, build your wealth, pursue your goals, and find happiness on your own terms. Marriage isn't the only path to fulfillment, but for most men today, it's the fastest path to financial and emotional destruction. Choose wisely.